Always wanted to do that when I actually come back for streaming. This whoop whoop button was actually one of the first thing I had 15 years ago when I started, but also I ended streaming after 1 year. So welcome everybody. Thanks for watching. I wanted to share something with you. I'm playing PreModern, and 2 weeks ago there was PreModern Darmstadt European Championship, which I actually won, and I wanted to go a little bit more spiky content with you to let you know what I was playing, which card choices you really want to know, and also I've requested some feedback on what cards you really wanted to have some more details about it. I also want to go into some matches, so we can go play by play, and you can a little bit think along with me what I was thinking in the match and how it panned out. So maybe this is a content you want to see. Just let me know afterwards if this is a little bit too more in depth or it just is just fine for you to actually view. So first off, we are playing a tournament in PreModern. PreModern is a format that's perfect for me because it has all the nostalgia cards, and also it has a little bit of a legacy play feel, and all the cards seem answerable. So that means that there's no complete annihilation matchups. Some have, but most of the time you have a really good gameplay. First off, the deck list. As you can see, I'm playing a pretty standard mainboard list, except for the accumulated knowledges. First things first, I want to give a shout out to a couple of people who helped me create this list, especially the mainboard was designed by Justin, or Big Z from Discord. I cannot pronounce his last name, but he was second at LobsterCon also playing this deck, and I hit him up when he was second because I was also testing with this deck. And of course, I have two American friends, well, actually three that I talk to on a regular basis. It's William Hurst, David Raska, and Rich Shea, who are all excellent players and love to play blue as well. So basically, mainboard, we have the standard mainboard list that has been a long time, except for the knowledges, because we want to have 4 knowledges main. But in most decks of Dreadnought, you see 4 Dreadnoughts, 4 Charms, 4 Portent, 4 Stifle, 4 Counterspell, 4 Foil, and sometimes 4 Gush. That's pretty base fixed. We want to have 2 solution cards, so I opted for 1 Chain, 1 Powder Keg. I like to have multiple 1-offs in a deck with Flash of Insight and lots of draw spells, because one is not better than the other, but they are just better in different occasions, right? And Accumulated Knowledge is a card that's really slow, but it's getting more and more popular because it's really good in the blue mirrors, so you can get ahead, but it's also good against black discard decks. Those decks are probably quite good against you because Cabal Therapy and Duress really hit you hard if they are combined with pressure. But if they're not combined with pressure, you can actually just draw back into the game by knowledge for 2 and for 3 and just try to go from there. There is also a special list without the factories. The factories were not perfect, by the way, but they're pretty good as well. And basically the rest is pretty standard. Over to the sideboard, we had lots of discussion in the sideboard, especially David, who told me that Brain Freeze isn't needed. You can just win without a Brain Freeze, but I kept losing in my testing against the mirror, because with knowledge mirror, you can sometimes knowledge for 4 or for 5, and then I just lost to a lot of card advantage at the same time. I also tend to lose to the mono blue tie deck, which will come later in the video, because they just wait and wait and wait. And if you need to win with Dreadnought, it's quite hard when their hand is full with counter spells and you're just chipping your life totals away with more mana lands on the tide side. So I really want to have different win cons, and I opted for 2 freeze. 1 freeze is never enough, and 2 freezes is exactly right. I didn't want to play more than 2 because the card is really bad between turns 0 and turns, well, let's say 10 or 12 or something. I got a question, what do we do against the green-white Enchantress deck, which is one of the best decks against Dreadnought, and I opted to play a little bit more 2-2-2 sideboard because I like to have more options and not cards that I need to have in my opener, and I opted for the card Essence Flare. Essence Flare is for a lot of reasons, but the main reason is to have a card that's actually good against aggro decks, but also hits Xanted Swarm. Some people adopted the new or the old stack, because old and new is the same in PreModern, of Xanted Swarm, and Xanted Swarm is a really, really good card against this. It means that if they can connect with Xanted Swarm, they can opt to go for the Enchantress, and there's not so much removal for the Argothian Enchantress, and also not that much enchantment removal. When the Enchantress hits, it means every card they play, they actually go ahead, ahead, and ahead, and ahead. So Xanted Swarm is a must kill. When you play multiple Essence Flare, you have to cut one Hydroblast, so I only play 3, because you cannot have a sideboard that wins against all other decks. If you see this sideboard and your metagame is full with black decks, maybe you want to opt for another Tide. If your metagame is full with Sly and Burn Sly decks and Goblin decks, you might want to have an extra Hydroblast in there. But all in all, I think this was pretty solid, and I would probably run the same sideboard again. So let's go on to the matches. How I want to do that is I hope to Wak Wak. And let me give you this screen. This is the, I hope you can see it actually. This is the third round. And as you can see, quite a lot has already happened. So you should see Gordon Andersson is actually the streamer there. And I wanted to give a shout out to Wak Wak, because I always love to be on the stream, but also love to commentate on the stream as well. I did it with Epic, and well, at the third round I was featured. At that point I was 2-0-1, so it's the fourth round, sorry, basically. And I'm playing against Michael. I'm not going to pronounce his last name because I'm going to butcher the Danish last name, but he was playing the mono green land destruction deck with Moxes. I'm going to a little bit elaborate on what my play was and what I was thinking in the match. So we are already on turn 3. Not much has happened. I stifled a fetch land, and I see a Mox here, and I opted to go for the Powder Keg to make sure that we can actually connect in that way. I also portented, and I was looking just for the combo because I didn't know what he was playing there. So I'm going to press play, and hopefully you can see what will happen. I put the speed a little bit faster because sometimes I tend to think a little bit longer than necessary for some plays. So the mono green deck plays 12 land destruction spells and sometimes a little bit of red, but basically the deck is full of land destruction. I think he has a Terravor here, which is really small, but now I have the option to go for killing the Mox Diamond or upping the Powder Keg to destroy the Terravor here. For now, I'm actually thinking not on do I kill the Mox or do I go to the Terravor. I'm actually just counting how many damage can I take, what can I do to actually prevent this? Is this threat different enough, or should I just go and try to kill the Mox Diamond here? Maybe I can get it even faster. So I'm going to Chain of Vapor the Mox here. He could opt to bounce the Powder Keg, but then he gets further and further behind. The reasoning is that I want to give him low land count because he missed his land drop. And now I'm upping the Powder Keg, so I'm letting him know your Moxes are safe, but the Terravor is going to die eventually. I'm a little bit flooded. You don't actually want to see 4 mana here, but I'm banking here to actually have the combo and have a protection spell as well. I have some time. I can actually go further and further. I think the stream crashes here, so I'm going to skip a little bit, and I hope it comes back at the right spot. And I don't think it did. Let's see. Okay, let's see. I really wanted to let you guys know because this was actually a really crazy game, but I don't think it has we can actually go ahead and look for here. This is the point, a Sphere of Resistance was actually in play and I needed to powder keg the sphere. That means I didn't have a counter spell to counter the sphere and still have a counter left to defend the Dreadnought. He was holding a card in hand the whole time, so I thought he just had to naturalize because all these decks have a couple of naturalize in the deck as well. Hopping up a couple of turns later, I attacked with the Dreadnought and he, well, I think he cast this, right? He cast Thermokarst, and this is a really strange spot because Terrafor is actually going bigger and bigger, and I can attack for 12. I have him on 7 already, but if he is on too big, he can just double block or triple block with a factory as well, and make sure that we actually are trading or that he can win on the backswing. So now he's attacking with 1, which is a good play by Michael, by the way, because waiting always benefits me in this spot. And now I need to have a removal spell for his factory, and if my memory recall, I did have the Vision Charm before blockers. So I'm thinking a long time, but I just Vision Charm the guy, because then if he blocks, he just actually dies to this. If he was making the 3/3 guy, you cannot Vision Charm a 3/3 ape, so there was my play there. Okay, sideboarding for this matchup is pretty easy. You want to have some dominates because he has land destruction, the manlands that attack, and powder keg is really needed, and chain of vapor is needed, and annul is needed for all the pesky artifacts and enchantments of Michael's deck. I hope we get a new matchup. Is completely full. So now I'm just looking for lands. So I just mulligan to a hand with a lot of lands. Accumulate knowledge is key in this matchup. Just try to cast your spells, and basically you're golden. The green deck doesn't really have pressure that often, so that means that if you have time and time and time, just get some lands. Okay, you see me mulliganing to 5, I guess. I think this was 5. And Michael is going for the fetch. So you can see 0-1 from Michael, but it's not the case. I actually won the first match, the first game. And now you can see he has red. When he fetches for red, I immediately think he has Pyroblast. Maybe you can see it in his hand if I go really slow, but Pyroblast was indeed in his hand. But that means that we are never going to have a fast combo here. Put me on pause. Let me look a little bit. I think he goes for yes. This was 2 turns later. He went for Sylvan Library. I definitely need to counter Sylvan Library because it just draws 6 cards. 4 cards, because I cannot pressure anything, so he will take 16 damage to just get some cards in his hand. I already played the first accumulated knowledge, and I'm 4 lands in play, so I'm looking pretty happy in this spot. So let me go again, and I think the stream is working. And there's the first Thermokarst. Here I had the option to actually daze, or just let it resolve, or just counter it. I think I just let it go because 3 irons is still enough, and you need to have deciding what counters you can actually go for. So I didn't opt for dazing here. Again, I'm going for Chain of Vapor, trying to trade resources, and playing the Mox actually costs him the card as well. Well, now I missed my land drop, and he opts for going for the Mox again and goes for the Thermokarst. Now I impulse in response, and the reasoning for this is I just want to see what my next turn is going to be. Let me get me a Coke here because I'm going to make a longer video than I thought. This is also the way, when I cast Impulse, I'm actually a little bit slower than normally because I wanted to think about this turn, the next turn, and the turn after for some of the choices. I think I had a really good Impulse here. That one is going for the dreadnought kill, and one is just trying to accumulate more cards and more cards. Okay. Unfortunately, we are long in the game. I hope the next match is going to be better. I'm sorry, guys. I like this game because Michael has cast Thermocast, Winter's Grasp, Sphere of Resistance, like every different spell there is, and I countered and draw and countered and draw. But still, I have 2 islands in play, which is really hard to cast anything because Sphere of Resistance is in play. So now I go to 1 island. And there's another Thermocast. So Michael's doing the Ponza way of trying to make sure that he wins this game. I have a powder keg here, but I cannot really resolve it due to the sphere. I have a chain of vapor as well, I know. And if I go chain and end of turn, and then I have 2 mana, I can actually go for the combo. But again, there's like 10 turns already going. The chances that Michael has a Pyroblast or a Naturalize is like 100%. So I cannot go for it or try, maybe he doesn't have it. And he doesn't have any pressure. So let's just continue playing this game. Okay. Here I Vision Charmed his cartoon land of Powder Keg. Well, first Gushing, because Gush cannot be cast with the card in play. With the sphere in play, and Powder Keg can be cast. So I opt to go Powder Keg and try to be a little bit slower again. Also, this is a little bit of bait, because if he has only 1 Naturalize, I'm perfectly fine him running Naturalize into the Powder Keg. He opts not to, and he draws a Rishadan Port, which is excellent in this spot. So he goes Naturalize, and then I blow up his Mox, and then upkeep he's going to be controlling my lands again. Basically, the only thing that I need to do is draw islands. Maybe people don't know, but I'm sideboarding out my Mishar's Factory in this matchup due to, Wasteland is a card that's 4 off in the deck, and maybe Dust Balls as well. The card doesn't do anything, and you need blue mana for almost all your spells. Well, in this particular spot, it would be okay to draw a Mishar's Factory, but in most spots, it just gets Wastelanded, and then you're just way behind. Well, now I'm just drawing and discarding because I need to have a land. My hand is actually really, really good here, but I need to have multiple options here. So Chain of Vapor on the sphere, then also need the combo and also need a land for a foil. If everything happens then we actually go on here. Now the clock is 5 damage a turn with the Rishadan Port. I need to discard again. It seems that Michael has got this in the bag. I'm on 8 here. So again, just looking for the 3rd island. I try to cast something here in response to the tapping. So I Chain of Vapor, and then I'm trying to annul the Sphere of Resistance. So I can actually remove it by bouncing it. The sphere needs to go with my hand. So I slamming annul. And of course, Michael has a second one. So then my whole game plan was a little bit too rusty here. I did draw island in a row. So now I just go Powder Keg again to make sure he cannot attack with both creatures. And we are still a little bit in this game. Probably another Naturalize, and he is on not a Naturalize. So this game is actually a little bit over now. I can go jump forward. I actually land the combo here by tapping all lands without any protection because Sphere is in play. And well, of course he has the 3rd Naturalize. So this was game number 2. It goes on for a little bit longer, but this is just the second game. We are 1-1. Okay, now I need to go to the bathroom. So there's a judge on my seat, and as a good judge, he actually counted the time that I wasn't there, so make sure that we can actually have full time because we were already pretty low on time here. So let's fast forward a little bit. I come back, and now we have game 2. It's already 2-1, but it's game 3, guys. It's game 3. Okay, we're shuffling. So let's pause a little bit. I'm looking for 2 different things. I'm looking for lands and a really fast kill that can be protected. Because the land destruction deck has Pyroblast and Naturalize, but you cannot play both in turn 1 and turn 2. When you actually resolve the combo, only Naturalize can hit you or Overload. If he has Overload and Pyroblast, well, you cannot do it. But this is actually really a tight spot for them. They really need to have the Dreadnought ready. The removal for the Dreadnought ready. If not, just lands is fine. Just make sure that we have a stable mana to make sure that you can actually cast your spells. So here we go, Island Go. Here he makes a really strange play. He goes Treetop Village, which means I can just, if I have it, I can just go without any getting Pyroblasted. And he doesn't have any red mana here, because if you have red mana, you will definitely go for a fetch or for a thing. So now I know quite a lot of cards in his hand. I know he kept his hand for a Naturalize or some of Naturalize effect, and I know he doesn't have red mana immediately. So that's really important to know when you're thinking, do I go for it or not? I just slam it here with the Vision Charm, which is the best one, because now I can untap and then counter when he has Naturalize. We can see Pyroblast in his hand, but I'm not sure if he has red mana. If he had the fetch land, I would not have gone for the combo, but I don't think he has it here. He has a port though, which is fine, but I guess he goes in the upkeep and tries to... Oh, no. Now I'm not really sure what he has. If he has nothing, then this is a little bit over analysis of this game. I don't remember every game that I played here, but he didn't have the cards. I did have the foil ready, so there you know that I was going with a really strong hand with the foil, with the Vision Charm, and with the Dreadnought. Basically, how this deck was built, it's all 4-offs, just one or the other, and you just steal a game. Okay, let me look for the semifinals, because there's a really good match that I actually played against Wilson in the top 8, a fellow Dutchie of mine, and he played black-white, but unfortunately it was not on stream. However, what was on stream was a really long Mirror of Enchantress. If you want to look that back, go to the Wak Wak stream. It's quite fun, especially Ivan. I know him a little bit. He's a really good player, and this is one of his closest friends, so their lists also really are connected or look alike. So I haven't seen the match, but I have been told it's a really long match that has a lot of enchantments in play. Oh, that's too fast. I'm going to play against Goblins. Goblins, for those who have known, in Epic, I especially lost to Yusa. It's also a good guy. Yusa said he played 14 Goblin lackeys. I get lackied all the time. So therefore, I was really not happy to see the Goblins. But he has a special Goblin playmat bought by him and written by Jeff Laubenstein. So what can you do? What can you do? I'm on the play, which is pretty important, and it makes sure that we have a turn extra, because this is really a close matchup normally. Here I'm just looking for as fast Dreadnought kill as possible. Mainboard Goblins only plays 2 Naturalize, and yeah, basically if he has Lackey, he has Lackey. I made a key mistake in this. in this matchup after reviewing again. So let's see if you see it. I'm keeping this hand and go island go. I have a really good hand, by the way. He goes mountain, and of course he has lackey. So I'm pausing here. I have a daze in my hand. I have dreadnought in my hand. I have vision charm in my hand. And I have a foil in my hand. So basically, whatever you want, this is what you want. I made the mistake of actually countering the goblin lackey here. The lackey is insanely good, but my hand is so strong, I should have just let it go. But my immortal visions, like the visions that I had, losing again to a goblin lackey were too much. And I needed to daze it immediately. But of course, as every good goblin player has, I thought I got enough time. He fetches. I'm stifling here, by the way. It's really important to get him off green mana. I thought if I fetch here, I have a lot of time, because then I can just draw into the combo plus another counter to make sure that we actually win here. He doesn't have it. And now I'm going again. Now I'm going for it. Unfortunately, Philip is a really good guy, and he has a second fetch. I didn't expect that he has a second one. But this makes a lot of sense that he had, and now maybe I shouldn't have gone for it, because now I don't have daze anymore. Not sure if I had foil, but I guess I did have daze here, because I dazed the first turn lackey. And I shouldn't have done that. So this is also strange. He let me attack, so I get an extra draw step here. I remember that I didn't have foil. I'm sorry. I have impulse and I have opt here, and I'm looking for counterspell, foil, or I'm going for vision charm to negate the naturalize. So these are my options. If I go impulse first, then I only can have vision charm. But if I go and counterspell doesn't work. If I go opt first, well, then I cannot go impulse for the other one. So I thought impulse was opt was better. So going opt and then scrying on bottom, drawing, and then have maybe a counterspell or a vision charm or another opt, by the way. But I went for the other line. So I was doing the math. I already had a vision charm, so I only have 3 options for vision charm. So I opted to go for opt first instead of the other way around. This was actually quite strange, because I also had a land in hand, so I could also foil. I opt and go bottom. But I did have a foil. Now I have impulse. Now my only out is foil, and in the impulse I saw vision charm. So if I went impulse first, I had the vision charm, and then I could have won this game. Sadly, I didn't. I thought I had enough time, because, well, his hand was quite slow. He doesn't have any goblins left. But here my hand is pretty down already. So now I need to have something, and basically my whole hand was just islands at this point. My opt and my impulse were really bad. I think I have a counter spell for the impulse, so maybe I think he goes for the ringleader. This is after attack, by the way, so my goblin player sometimes didn't do the logical plays, or tries to next level me to have a removal spell, but I think you should have just main faced the ringleader to actually attack. And here you see I'm pretty flooded, and yeah, this game I thought I should have won this one, but it's quite tricky after we have seen this. So I can a little bit jump forward, because this game I don't draw actually anything. I have another dreadnought. I draw it, and the stifle was already in my hand. The problem is I cannot really attack. I'm on 12. That's also what people tend to forget. If you go too late, you can just die because of the damage on the swing back. In the hand of Philip is still the Mock Fanatic and the Pile Driver and a couple of unknowns. Basically, I'm just playing the top of my deck for quite some time now. And I think he is counting, can I do 12 immediately, or what is the best way around this? He attacks with all. Um, I'm getting 6 damage, or I'm getting 5 damage. Basically, no reason to get a little bit greedy here. I just blocked the lackey here to make sure there's not another goblin coming. I thought if he has siege gang, I'm immediately dead. But I guess, like I said, the gameplay on the first turn was actually more important. So therefore, I'm doing it. I'm blocking the lackey. And there's going to be a pile driver and three one mana goblins. And I think I just accumulate knowledge from the top. Try to figure out something here, but I'm actually just dead on board. So this was the first game. I was actually pretty tilted. I thought, how can I lose to this stupid goblin deck again? It doesn't really matter what I play, I just lose to goblins. But I also thought, well, in the sideboard we have 2 Essence Flare and 3 Hydroblast, and my Gen on the play. Let's try to make the most of it. And it's good to see, if you look at the match back, I should have not have dazed the Goblin Lackey first turn. I will probably have won this game here. So it's quite funny that if you play a little bit tighter, this deck is so good. And I thought I really played it tight already, so you can also play a little bit better. Okay, this is a long sideboard stint again. So going a little bit ahead. Okay, I'm mulliganing. I'm actually had a really okay-ish hand, but a one-lander. There was one guy behind me telling me in German, telling his friend in German, he had a one-lander, so he mulliganed. I was also a little bit like, it's a casual format, but don't reveal why you mulligan, please. Like, you give the opponent some extra information without actually. It's not okay. Now Philip knows I'm never going to keep a one-lander, but yeah, what can you do? Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. He also shuffles to. I'm keeping my 6, and Philip also has 6, and of course he has Goblin Lackey. They always play 14, maybe 18, maybe 21. I don't know. They always have it. Here I have the days, and here is actually again the good play to have days, because my hand was not the combo hand that I thought that I wanted. But what's better than having one Goblin Lackey? You think? You probably will guess it, right? It's a second one. It's a second one. Here also, this is a big tell. He has a Rishadon pot on turn 2. So that makes it that his hand is actually really leaning on the Goblin Lackey part, and not on anything else. If you have a red mana here, you will definitely want to have the mountain here to make sure that you get Pyroblast or something else. He also takes pain off his Caplus Forest, so you know he doesn't have any mountains in his hand. So he has only one source of interaction here. My hand is Hydroblast here, because, well, I got all response hand, but I missed the combo here. So here I'm thinking, what do I do against Rishadon Port? If I go Island, or should I go Misha's Factory? If I go Factory, he can tap the island and make sure that I have in 2 turns I don't have the double blue, which is a little bit important, so I cannot counter. So therefore I'm playing my island first instead of the Factory. These small things I'm thinking about this 2 turns ahead to make sure that I have actually the right mana at the right time. The Factory doesn't attack, it also doesn't need to block on turn 2, because only if he goes War Chief, I don't have the Factory there, and a War Chief I'm probably going to deal with it anyway, with a Factory after that. So only a couple of plays made, but I'm trying to make you sure that that you know my thought process here. He draws a forest because otherwise he will play the last turn, and he goes for the pile driver. Pile driver on its own is not really at clock. It's actually the worst clock of them all. So I'm pretty happy with this. I just played a factory that I contemplated playing on turn 2. And now we have a double port. So not sure if he drew both lands from top, but it was really, really the ports are really okay to make sure this game is going to be way slower than I thought. He just doesn't do anything and just ships a turn. I I thought he would uh, attack, and then if I activate, then tap the factory, and then he just comes in for 1. But I'm not really sure what his reasoning here is. Maybe he just wants to make it a little bit slower and make sure that it doesn't have any counter spells, which is also fine. On upkeep, he doesn't tap my lands as well. So here I'm a little bit, I don't know why my lands aren't tapped here. So I'm thinking, should I go for it? And I thought I should go for it because there's no reason not to if his hand contains answers, he doesn't have pressure, and I need to deal with it anyway. If he has answers, then I just need to counter it as much as possible. He doesn't have the naturalize, which I'm really, really happy for, because otherwise, well, this game is going to be really, really tricky. And now he's in a really difficult spot. So I think tapping there instead of keeping counters open was a little bit better, but keeping ports open was a little bit better. Counters actually, because Parables counters. Okay, there's another pile driver, but now this game is pretty locked up because now I can untap. He's tapping my lands, which is fine. I just need to swing twice with this big guy, the big shrimp. I play the island to go hardcast foil here. There's also no reason to bank it because I don't want to discard it on something else. If I go gush, I need to, well, play all my lands out, so I'm not banking lands in this matchup. And this is game number 2. I think I was really happy about this game because I played this, well, exactly how I wanted to play this match. Okay, now we're shuffling up for game 3. Game 3 is always different because game 3, Philip is on the play. And when Goblins is on the play, it's a much different game. You actually are a little bit more behind due to Lackey, but also due to the mana advantage. His list has Wasteland and Ports. That's the way how his list was built. So a lot of mana denial cards. I kept the factories in because they can block Lackeys. But normally with so much hate, I just bought the factories out for other cards. Here Philip mulligans to 6, and I'm keeping a 7. It's a reactive 7, so I'm sure it had an Essence Flare and also had Hydroblast. So again, I'm also playing with the dice because I noticed that we were told that the dice should be go on the mat so that people could watch it and count to 20. Well, if you know Gordon a little bit, you need to try to make him a little bit miserable once in a time. It's just the way it is. Just the way it is. So this is also 20, and I thought it was really clever. But if you're waiting for your opponent to mulligan, try to make a little bit other things around. So this is also 20. So Philip mills to 5 here. Mulliganing to 5 makes the matchup also different because now 1-for-1ing is actually a really good play. Normally 1-for-1ing is pretty hard because they can just go ringleader back, but 1-for-1ing with 7 cards is not doable. But with 5 on the draw, it certainly is. Okay, he milled to 5. He was not really happy about his 5, by the way. That's also some people are a little bit more telling what they have. He goes not turn 1 Lackey, so I'm pretty happy about that. He has a Corplusen Forest, so my understanding is that he bottomed not lands, but expensive spells and have some interaction in his hand. Double Corplusen Forest also means that you can actually win with factories if he keeps on tapping them for mana. With Portent, you need to always say that you draw in your opponent's upkeep. I managed to do that accordingly. And I'm just waiting. I thought if we can play a game that I just develop mana, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'll just go land, go land, go. I have 7 cards in hand, and you have 5. Okay. First one of the day is Lecky. Lecky is actually the one that he really wants. But I thought I had Essence Flare in my hand, and I really want to make sure Essence Flare actually does something. So I opt for not countering it, and in my own turn going Flare it. So he doesn't play anything else, and he has no lands in his hand. So his hand must be full of Pyroblasts of Naturalizers. Like, this is the only way this hand makes sense. Here I go, Essence Flare. It's a card that not everybody knows, so it needs a little bit of more of explaining. And he doesn't counter it. He doesn't do anything about it. So I think he's like, it's fine. But if I go to greedy and tap out here for something else, he could just Pyroblast it before going to his turn and then actually attacks it. So here I'm not going for anything else except for Portent, because it's a sorcerer, you need to play it here. And I'm just looking for card draw spells or the combo. At the end of my turn, he goes Pyroblast, and now I need to Hydroblast it. I'm not Hydroblasting the Pyroblast, but I'm Hydroblasting the Lecky. It doesn't really matter that much, but let's say he can giant growth it or something really strange. I'm not going to be, well, blown out by that. So it's super fringe, but I thought I will let you know I Hydroblasted the Lecky instead. So we trade 2 for 2. But now I'm tapped out, and he has the, yeah, there's the card, Essence Flare, thank you. And now he goes for the War Chief, and he has a little clock here. So now that means, okay, now I need to have something in the next couple of turns, or otherwise I'm just going to be, well, taking 2, taking more for the War Chief. I have the Factory, which can block and pump, but it can only block now, it cannot pump itself. So also here, kind of tricky what to do now. I think Philip is thinking a long time before he just passes the turn. He didn't attack. Oh, he did cast Ringleader, however. And Ringleader is a card I just need to counter here. Again, we are playing the trading resource for resource type of game here, and not the you need to go fast game. Okay. I'm going a little bit forward here because I know this is a little of a slow start. I noticed I'm looking for Dreadnought now because I think we have enough counters. We are ahead, but he still has 2 cards left, and one of them is certainly a Naturalize or a Pyroblast. It should be, because that's the way how his opener was. I gush here, so I'm looking for cards. I gush in 2 more islands, by the way, so my hand's like 5 islands at this point. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm not going to lose the goblins again. So now you need to be like a bit of a posture so you do not reveal that your hand is really, really rubbish. So we have more cards, but, well, islands don't do anything here. So Pulse Spectre is fine. It can't attack into Factory, so I'm letting it resolve. If I have counters, I need to bank them a little bit. And this is a Matron. Matron, of course, is a different kind of problem, because it's a 1/1, but it's also making sure that you have another card that you need to counter as well, so better counter the Matron here. Countering means that we take 3 damage, and I think it's better to counter it and take 3. He didn't attack here, which is quite huge. I'm not sure if he missed it, but you see how fast I'm untapping here. I couldn't activate my Factory here, so I should be on 3 less. In the chat, by the way, on the live, Bribbit, who is Justin Provençal, and I try to pronounce your name now. He was actually rooting for me, so thanks for that. Now he draws the Rishadan pot, and now he actually has a clock. Again, I'm on a lot of islands, and I don't want to burn anything. I've no real answers to these goblins at the moment. I just have counter spells. So when he fetches, I could stifle, but I thought, well, I need to stifle the Dreadnought if I draw it. So, well, let's just wait and go for it, basically. Maybe also a spiky play. I'm putting my factory a little bit more in front, so he knows I have it, but also you need to deal with this, man. Okay, he taps it again. I also do not opt to stifle here because I need to stifle to actually go for Dreadnought and then stifle something else. I draw Gush here, yep, which is a good draw, but it also makes sure that we need something. We have Powder Keg here, which doesn't really help. It slows a little bit of the clock, but not that much. I'm also on 12. At some point, you're on such a low life total that actually a Dreadnought will not help you with the War Chief in play. So I need to have something ASAP, otherwise you'll just lose against goblins. Well, that's another one drop. This is also a play that I thought was really strange because when you have Powder Keg on 1, don't play 1-drops. You can just play them afterwards. Just wait it out. If I go Powder Keg to 2 to make sure the War Chief is going to be dead, you can just then play the Fnatic. I asked Philip the reasoning after the match of specifically this play, and he told me, well, it has haste, so it can also shoot for 1, but I think it was not really the right call here. Now I stifle his Rishadan Port trigger, because now I know the factory actually prevents 4 damage if I just have it untapped. He also has 1 card left, so that means that he has only had 1 removal for a Dreadnought, and the rest is... this is the rest of his game plan. So he's also playing from the top. I go for 1 here, and I immediately blow it up in my turn, probably. Because I don't want him to have... Oh, no. Yeah, I was thinking of blowing it up in my turn, but I wanted to blow it up in his attack step to make sure that if he has another 1-drop, he doesn't have haste and attack me. It's just these small things that you can actually chip more damage in. So he taps the factory, and I think in the attack step, I'm killing it, so the Prospector doesn't gain mana or net mana in any other phase. And now I'm taking 2, and I'm pointing the Prospector is also 1, and going to 9. So still, I'm in this game, but I need to draw something. I think I draw another Stifle, which is quite strange. Now, sometimes with Dreadnought, you just need Dreadnoughts, but well, what can you do? I think I ported a lot and shuffled a lot. I didn't find a Dreadnought there. And Philip, with his draws, is also not the greatest, just 1-drops and lands on his part. So it's a little bit of a cripple fest here. I'm on 7, so I need to have something in 2 turns here. There's another island, so I just go island go and hoping to do something. This is also, he cycled his 2-1 guy. Maybe he should have just played it and attacked it. But again, I'm not the Goblins expert, but I thought the game was okay to just play a 2-1 guy with haste. I think he has Wasteland here in this spot, right? Yeah. So Wasteland, he just Wastelanded. I can stifle this, but it doesn't really matter because he has also Port. I just waited a long time here because I can stifle it and then he needs to tap again. But I thought it's not really the necessary need to go double stifle to prevent 2 damage. And now I'm like, okay, I need to draw something absolutely now, like a Hydroblast or a Dreadnought. As you can see, I got a little bit lucky here to actually draw the Dreadnought. It was a long time ago, right? But and now the only option is to go Dreadnought, go Stifle, counter his spell, and then hope that you actually can attack 2 times. He's on 15 already, so that also means here I'm doing not a takesy backsies, but I'm going to play it, but I needed to play my land first. So uh, I didn't tap my mana yet, but I played a land and island. This is a little bit sloppy of me, by the way. But in pre-modern, I think you can get away a little bit with this, right? Because, well, I didn't do any game actions so in between. I had foil in my hand, and I didn't want to lose to double removal. So now I can counterspell and foil hardcasted it. So, and I don't get Rishadan ported, because that was the reasoning of playing the land first. Stifle here. I'm expecting that he has a counterspell, or a removal spell. Because what else can he have? Well, he goes Naturalize. I banked a counterspell. This is a hardcast foil. And now we have a spot that the port actually taps my last island. I could Vision Charm my own Dreadnought here. But then I just attack to it, just him attacking with a card plus plus the War Chief. And this is actually also really a funny spot. If I attack here into his guys, he's attacking me for a 5 exactly. So I need to have something again. I think I find Portent here. Yeah. And in the Portent, I find another Dreadnought, which can also be helpful. Attack and then just play another one, sack the other one. But I also find Hydroblast, which is the perfect answer to this board state. If I go Hydroblast against the War Chief, I can actually negate him for attacking for 5. This is also troubling, because why did he play his Pile Driver here? He could have just surprised me with a Pile Driver and another spell next turn to make sure that I didn't expect him to have lethal on board there. So a lot of tiny interactions that could have been differently in this match. I'm thinking about this because this is a game. This is the gameplay that needs to be done. I'm attacking here for 12, and then I stop him in his upkeep to have Hydroblast on his War Chief. I shuffle it in my hand to not let him know that the Hydroblast was from the top. And now he's in a really big problem because he needs to have a removal spell for Dreadnought and he doesn't. So I can press this really hard button again. sorry guys, it's my 16-year-old Danny coming through again. So this was my jam. Okay, let's go to the finals. So I'm 2-1 and I'm playing the finals against Mirtos Musevi. And Mirtos was also playing a Saturday tournament with the same deck, and he went top 4 again. So he's top 4 and now in the finals against me. I can play first, and it's Dreadnought versus Mono Blue Tide. I really tested this matchup, so I was really happy that he won because I was not looking up to facing Enchantress with the current with how Enchantress is doing against Dreadnought. We had a small break. Let's see when we actually have the game. Here it is. So I'm on the play. In this matchup, there's 2 things you can do. Try to go turn to Dreadnought. That's basically the first one. And try to have a quicker game plan. Or wait a very long time, win the accumulated knowledge mirror, and go Dreadnought with a lot of counters backup. There's no in between in this one. I'm on the play. I have Dreadnought and Stifle, by the way, because I saw the portent and I had it. Here he goes Fairy Conclave. Again, guys, if you're playing Dreadnought and you have a tapped land and an untapped land, just play the untapped land on turn 1. Now I know there's no Force Spike. Force Spike is the only real removal spell on the combo if I have Vision Charm. I'm going a really fast Dreadnought here with the Stifle. He can Chain of Vapor me, but I also have a daze in my hand. Actually, I have two dazes in my hand. Um, you can tell that if he has an island, you can force spike and daze, but then I'm so behind, then the second chain of vapor will actually kill me. So therefore, I'm just going for it here. Also, the removal spell Chain of Vapor makes sure it only counters the Stifle. The Dreadnought is going back in the hand and we can play it afterwards. So even the removal spells are not the best for Mythos. Mythos is thinking on this turn, I think maybe 5 minutes. So I'm going to be a little bit longer. I'm not sure why he thought a long time. It's a long day. It's really hot, by the way, in Darmstadt when I played this. And he opted for not doing anything. I'm asking after a couple of minutes, like, do you want to do something? And then he just opted to not play anything and take 12. And I think this is a good way. He wanted to have 3 more mana and first bait me into countering something. He plays Accumulated Knowledge, which is fine. The first knowledge is really bad in this matchup to play because the second one is two cards, and then it gets really good. So he draws 1 card. Now I stop him because he's tapped out and I have also Accumulated Knowledge and I want to knowledge for 2 without a counter spell. So this is really important. If he now has removal for the Dreadnought, I can just say it's fine. I can also try to fight it if I draw really good with the knowledge here. So I'm not sure what he has in his hand here, but he goes for Chain of Vapor. I had Vision Charm, which is the perfect answer to Chain of Vapor in this spot. And I think he goes Mana Leak, and then the Daze actually does something again. So this match could also be really different if Mirtosh played the island on the first turn, because I don't want to go for the Dreadnought probably. Maybe I do, maybe I don't, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be so confident to go Dreadnought there. Now I'm thinking which card to Daze, because if I Daze the Mana Leak, the Vision Charm goes off, and I wanted to Daze the Chain of Vapor here instead. So everything gets countered, and Mirtosh doesn't have a second card here. So we have a really, really fast game 1. I'm really happy to win the first game because I think the first game is actually the worst one because I have Brain Freeze in my sideboard and he doesn't really know about it. Or I think he doesn't know about it because it's not the standard card for Mono Blue Dreadnought to play. The normal plan is Tide and Dominate. I actually bought in a lot of cards in this matchup. I bought in Annul, Brain Freeze, Parallax Tide, and Dominate, and remove a lot of cards that are really clunky. So I'm boarding out a lot of Dreadnoughts. I only have 1 Dreadnought left after sideboarding, and I also have only, I think, 1 Stifle or 2 Stifles and 1 or 2 Vision Charms. So a lot of the normal combo goes out, and we just play a long control game. And game 2 and 3 is all about getting lands into play. And don't tap out for a Tide, because the first one who resolves Tide normally wins the matchup. Okay, we're shuffling a long time. Again, this is the last match of the tournament. We're pretty tired as well. And it's also, again, insanely hot in Darmstadt. The AC was not sufficient enough or good enough for us here. Does Milos have a 1-lander? I don't know. I recall a lot, but I don't recall the first mulligans here. He's keeping his hand, and we go island, go island, go. Quicksand, also a good addition for the mono blue deck. I'm opting to go Powder Keg. It doesn't really do anything here, but it draws out any counters. I'm perfectly fine. He goes AK first again. I'm fine with that. The first AK is pretty bad. His islands are really great, by the way. It's beautiful. He has the second knowledge, and I don't have a counter spell here. This is end of my turn, so he's now in his own turn again. Now I'm thinking, oof, he's going to have way more cards than I do. My hand is not that great, by the way, here, but I have a lot of lands. I need to have a lot of lands. So, in this spot, I'm already thinking, how can I win this game? how can I actually get ahead? Brain freeze should be the main reason, but I also have dominate somewhere in the deck. I can also go with by attacking. When he played his second factory and he did this turn, I see 2 factories and a quicksand. Now I have the option to actually just take the damage and just try to dominate, but I immediately want more time with brain freeze. So I'm popping the powder keg here to make sure that it actually kills the factory. And I'm also impulsing. And I thought I impulsed into a brain freeze there, but I'm not really sure if this was this impulse or the next one. It was a brain freeze. So now my plan is pretty straightforward. Get as much time as you want, try to cast as much spells, and try to count the opponent's deck without knowing him that you count the deck. So what you do is you go 60 minus all the cards in play and graveyard and hand, and don't ask how much cards there are in his deck. And try to let your opponent think that you're thinking about different things, basically. I have 7 cards, no lands here. I have a lot of counter spells, like 3 counter spells in my hand, but in this game state, Mirtosh is not going to play anything. He just goes attack for 2, and has a 10 turn clock. We are on 16, an 8 turn clock now. So now I make the John Finkel play of I want to move to discard, and what I'm going to discard is a counter spell. This should tell Mirtosh that my hand is full of counterspells, by the way, and that his game plan is going great. Which is also fine with me. I have 8 turns. I need to go double freeze or at least cast a lot of cards in between. He has a conclave here. I'm thinking a long time here because I'm also counting, and I thought I have had dominate in my hand here, and I try to dominate. It's not a dominate to make sure that I actually can attack with him with it, but I need to empty my hand and I need to get a lot of lands as well. So I want to dominate to resolve, not to attack, but just to have more mana. Mirtosh answers by Mana Leak. I cannot cast Mana Leak, but I have 2 counter spells more. I'm going Gush. This is maybe too early, but I thought we already have 3 spells here, guys. Like Gush, Dominate, Mana Leak. I also have Brain Freeze. So I thought if I go Freeze here for like 6, it could be okay. In hindsight, maybe I should have not gushed there, just waited a little bit longer. But I'm foiling here because we have a lot of resources already, and we are really fighting for this factory now. It also makes sure that if he doesn't have a factory, he needs to have way more lands to tap his conclave to deal the same amount of damage, and he can also just die to a tide. Mirtosh is not afraid of a tide, as you can see. He just counters the dominate again. Again, we are in his attack step, so if I drew a tide, I can just tide and just make sure his land goes away if I have another stifle again. So this is a power play by Mirtosh. I'm not sure if I would have played the same thing here. I play another counter spell, and now I have, like, I really want to have the tide here, or make sure that we have enough spells. And then you see another island here, which is so smart. So he attacks first, then gives me the information he has another land in this turn. I don't have the tide, but I go portent here. Now I'm looking just for the second brain freeze and more spells. Like this game, I'm not going to be attacking. And I can go for the 12-12 kill, but he's probably having annul or some other counter spells. If you have like if you play the land after combat, I would bet some money that Mirtosh has an annul in his hand to counter the tide. Otherwise, you don't counterspell the counterspell for dominate. So I was thinking about that. Okay, even if I draw a tide, tapping out here is also pretty clunky if he has a tide again. Okay, and now he attacks for 3 mana, has 4 mana floating. And I'm drawing Gush again, so now I'm just, okay, I need lands. I just need lands and time, that's it. I'm counting here. How many Storm do I need? So if you count with me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cards. In his hands are probably 5. And he goes Factor Fiction end of turn. I'm just thinking, why are you going Factor Fiction? You're so ahead on cards already, but can I resolve this or not? Can I go for it? I'm trying to let him think that I'm thinking about countering the Factor Fiction, but in this game, I was just counting how much Brain Freeze Storm I need to have here. I only have one freeze in my hand, so I'm just counting, okay, if I go for 7, because I could hit 7, 21 cards was not enough. It was pretty close though, but it was not enough. He still has 7 draw steps here, so I just opt to counter it. I don't think Counterspell is needed in the Brain Freeze turn, so therefore I just countered it. He goes Kek, like I'm not going to attack with the factory. It's fine. I'm not going to attack. Okay. As you see there, I'm drawing the second Brain Freeze. I'm super happy about that. I was searching for it, but now my hand is double freeze. And it's also 6 mana. So without any help from Mirtosh, I can play Vision Charm you, because I had a Vision Charm. So 2 cards, which one is Vision Charm, then Brain Freeze for 3, Brain Freeze for 4, which is already 7 times 3 is 21 cards without even the help of Mirtosh. So now I just want him to cast something that I don't want to counter, but I want to look as I'm looking for cards. I also have Gush, by the way, so it's actually 3 cards. Gush, 2 cards, two Brain Freezes. So I thought I was pretty close here already. Powder Keg is not getting up to 1, because that's always possible if I have actually the Dreadnought and I go to 10 here. At the end of turn, again, I'm thinking of going for it, but going for 4 and 5, so 9 times 3 is not enough. 27 cards is not enough here. I was actually 2 Storm off. That was my reasoning here. I'm taking a glass of water to actually count again, to double count, because I thought it was so close. He also plays Stifle, by the way, so I need to respect that he could Stifle one of the Storm triggers as well. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit. I have another land here, which means a lot. And then he just taps out of Factor Fiction. Now I'm just super flabbergasted. So, like, I need to go for it now. I know I need to go for it, but how can I make sure that it's the most amount of Storm? Maybe he has foil, by the way. So he puts it in his graveyard, but it's still on the stack. I'm thinking a long time in which order I'm going to play it, but I know I'm going to play some kind of a Brain Freeze. I'm also double counting because I was not super into how much it was. So I go Gush for 2 extra cards. I don't hit any card that actually can play. I hit Flash of Insight, but it cannot be played for 2 and then for less. So I want to have like an Opt or another Vision Charm for have a 1 mana card that actually can be played. So 2 mana left. I'm also not giving a Storm counter yet, because I don't want him to know that I freeze here. I'm playing AK. I'm thinking of AK and then thinking, do I still have enough mana? Because that's the most important one. I go AK for 3, because sometimes you can foil your own card, so you have an extra Storm. I could, for instance, foil his Factor Fiction, but Factor Fiction also gives 5 cards. So now I go Vision Charm you for 4. Now Mirtosh is smiling at me and thinking, okay, what's this? And then he sees 1 Brain Freeze. Note Factor Fiction is still on the stack. So I think he's going to get it back on the stack. Yeah. So this is a Brain Freeze of 5. So 15 cards go away. And there's another Brain Freeze. 15 and 21. That should be enough, right? He was counting and it wasn't enough yet. I was like, and so I counted 3. Factor Fiction may resolve, Mirtosh. And there you have it. Woo! 3 mana. 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 So I won Darmstadt. I was really, really happy about this win. Um, of course, winning a tournament is perfect, but I think this was a really happy because Bravery was my own addition that I needed in this matchup for my senses, and it just came out beautiful here. So it just came out beautiful here. Let me go back to the deck list again. Up. Like this. So deck list again. This was the list that I played. Again, I would have not changed a lot. Maybe if you expect different cards or different meta games, you can change it up. Now everybody knows I'm playing Brain Freeze, so probably do something about that or do something a little bit differently about that. The mainstay of this deck is it's such a strong turn 2 combo deck with also a long game plan availability with all the cards that actually replace themselves. So, okay. I'm rambling a long time. One thing to note, as much of your pre-modern players have, and me as well, we had a really rough last week because of the passing of Jens. I was really flustered about that as well. So I really wanted to make this video, but last week or this week has been really tough for us. I hope Jens is in a better place now than he was, but he was such a good friend in the tournaments. I was having a lot of great moments with him, and he always smiled. So I was really devastated that he's no longer going to hug me again. So, like I said on the Facebook and on some other occasions as well, I hope I can hug him sometime when it's my time to go. But I didn't want to end on a super downy. I'm really happy for this tournament that gone well. It was a tournament that actually he organized together with some other people from Darmstadt, and I hope to honor him in the best way he did. Is making the gathering part in Magic the Gathering because that's the best part of them all. So, okay. Hope you like this content. If not, also let me know if you want to have like further questions or further things you want to add or details. Just let me know. And hopefully you enjoyed this one to watch. And see you guys next time. Bye bye.